Some insects grow so large they blur the line between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Witness the giants of the insect world that defy belief. In today's video, we're counting down the 20 largest insects ever discovered. Get ready to be amazed. Giant walking stick. You won't believe what looks like a boring old twig, but is actually alive. Meet the giant walking stick, one of the biggest walking stick insects in North America. But don't let the name fool you. Even though it's called giant, it only grows between 3 to 6 inches long. Not exactly monster-sized, right? It gets its name because, well, it walks, and it looks just like a stick. That's pretty much it. Nothing flashy, no wings or scary fangs, just a slow-moving insect trying to blend in with tree branches. Here's the wild part. This insect survives by doing absolutely nothing. Yep, its whole defense strategy is to freeze and pretend it's a twig. Why? Because it's super slow and can't outrun anything. So instead of running, it just stays still and hopes predators think it's just a stick. Kind of clever, in a lazy way, right? It's nature's perfect game of hide and seek, and the walking stick plays it like a pro. Goliath beetle. Here's something wild. You're about to meet the biggest and heaviest beetle on Earth. The Goliath beetle isn't just a cool name, it fits the name. These massive bugs come from the rainforests of Southeast Africa, where they love the warm, thick jungle. But don't let their flashy colors fool you. These beetles are beasts. They can lift things that are 850 times heavier than their own weight. That's like a human lifting a truck. Yeah, these bugs are nature's tiny strongmen. Now here's where things get even crazier. Male Goliath beetles grow a horn on their head, and they actually fight each other with it, like little armored warriors. And why do they fight? For love. When mating season hits, the battles begin. The males go head-to-head just to win a female. But here's the sad twist. After mating, the male gets so exhausted, he literally dies from the effort. That's one wild way to go out. Queen Alexandra's birdwing. You won't believe this, but there's a butterfly so big, it's named after birds. Meet Queen Alexandra's birdwing, one of the rarest and largest butterflies in the world. Found only in a small patch of rainforest in Papua New Guinea, about 450 square miles, this giant beauty is in trouble because its forest home is being destroyed to grow palm oil. With a wingspan that can reach up to 30 centimeters, or 12 inches, it flaps like a bird and looks like a flying painting. That's why it's called a birdwing. When it's a hungry little caterpillar, it munches non-stop on long leafy vines to grow huge. But once it becomes a stunning butterfly, it eats in a totally different way, using a rolled-up tube tongue called a proboscis to sip liquids, almost like a fancy lady sipping tea. And here's something wild, it's actually poisonous. These butterflies feed on a toxic plant when young, which makes them dangerous to predators. So if anything tries to eat this colorful beauty, it'll get a very painful stomachache. And a strong warning, don't mess with the birdwing. Hedge grasshopper? You won't believe how big this grasshopper is. Meet the hedge grasshopper, the largest grasshopper in Australia, a country already packed with strange and deadly animals. These supersized bugs can grow between 1.5 to 3 inches long, with the females being even bigger. Rare ones have even reached 4 inches. But being that big comes with a price. They're a tasty treat for predators like mantises and lynx spiders who just can't resist them. Now here's the wild part. These grasshoppers like to live alone. They're spread all across northern Australia, and they're not exactly the social type. But when it comes to destroying crops, that's when they gang up. Like a rowdy bunch of troublemakers, they come together and cause chaos. A small group of hedge grasshoppers can wipe out crops like coffee berries in no time, turning from loners into a mini army of destruction. Titan beetle. This bug is a beast. The Titan beetle can grow over 6.5 inches long. That's bigger than your entire hand. It's one of the largest insects on Earth. But here's the weird part. Even though it's massive, scientists still don't know much about it. These giants live in the hot, wet rainforests of South America. They can fly, but they're too heavy to take off from the ground. So they use their strong legs to climb trees and jump into the air from above. When the weather gets really hot and humid, they take flight, trying to find a mate by following a special scent, a pheromone, released by other beetles. Now here's where it gets creepy. No one has ever seen a titan beetle larva. Seriously, no photos, no video, nothing. Experts think the young ones might live hidden inside rotting wood for years, feeding and growing in secret before turning into the giant beetles we see. And if you ever run into an adult titan in the jungle, watch out. They've got jaws so strong, they can snap a pencil in half with one bite. Yeah, you hear that right. You won't believe this insect is real. The giant weta, also called the weta punga, is one of the biggest insects on Earth. It looks like a huge, wingless cricket and was once found only on a small island called Little Barrier near New Zealand. These creatures were almost wiped out because the food chain got totally messed up. In the early 1900s, the island had tons of wild cats. These cats kept the rat population under control. But when people removed the cats to protect birds, the rats came back like crazy and they had a feast. They ate the giant weta all night long, and during the day, any survivors were picked off by saddleback birds. Nature was in chaos and the poor weta nearly disappeared for good. But then, thankfully, people realized what was happening. They got rid of the rats, and slowly the giant weta made a comeback. Now, these amazing bugs are being moved to safe, predator-free places. But honestly, it makes you wonder, when we mess with nature too much, what's the cost? What if, one day, we end up with islands full of giant insects? Kinda creepy, right? Atlas moth. You won't believe how big this moth is. The Atlas moth is one of the largest moths in the world, with wings that can stretch wider than a human hand, up to 12 inches across. But here's the twist. As huge and powerful as it looks, it's actually designed to die fast. Once it comes out of its cocoon, it can't even eat. No mouth, nothing. Its only job is to survive just long enough to find a mate. That's why the caterpillar stage is all about non-stop eating. It has to store up enough energy for its entire adult life, which only lasts about 1 or 2 weeks. Get this, the caterpillar of the Atlas moth is a giant too, growing over 4.5 inches long. During that stage, it eats like crazy, stuffing itself full before the big transformation. But after that, the adult moth just chills, saving every bit of energy while it flies around looking for love. Its massive wings cover up to 62 square inches, making it a true beauty, but also a ticking clock. Once it mates and lays eggs, its short life ends. It's a brief moment of glory, and then it's gone. Tarantula hawk wasp. You won't believe what this insect eats for dinner. Tarantulas. The tarantula hawk wasp isn't named for fun. This giant wasp actually hunts tarantulas for food. That means it has to be seriously big and strong. You can find these scary-looking insects in Southeast Asia, India, the Americas, Africa, and even Australia. Basically everywhere except freezing places. And get this, it's the official state insect of New Mexico. Yep, a spider-hunting monster is their state symbol. Here's the part that might give you chills. Female tarantula hawks can grow up to 3 inches long with a 4-inch wingspan. That's huge for a wasp. And the females are the hunters. They stab tarantulas with a super painful sting, paralyze them, then drag them into a burrow to slowly eat them alive. Sounds like a horror movie, right? Luckily for us, they're not really after humans. But if you mess with them or even annoy them, they will sting. And it's one of the most painful stings known to man. So yeah, admire them from a distance. Giant burrowing cockroach. Ever heard of a cockroach so big it's actually kind of adorable? Meet the giant burrowing cockroach, the world's heaviest cockroach. It grows up to 3 inches long and can live for an impressive 10 years. Believe it or not, some people even keep these chunky little critters as pets. Native to Australia, you'll find them in the open forests of northern Queensland. They build underground burrows where they live full-time, raising their babies, sometimes up to 30 at once, resting, and repeating the cycle year after year. Now here's the cool part. These shiny brown bugs actually help keep the forest healthy. At night, they come out of their burrows to collect dry leaves, which they drag underground. This simple action helps break down dead plant matter and turns it into rich, healthy soil. So even though they might seem a little gross at first glance, they play a super important role in the forest. Just goes to show, even the tiniest, weirdest creatures have their own special job in nature. Midas fly. This fly is way too big for comfort. The midas fly can grow up to 3 inches long. Yes, that's almost as big as your finger. Even a 2-inch fly feels like 2 inches too much, right? Now picture these giant flies buzzing around in huge swarms. Yeah, total nightmare fuel. They're usually dark tan or black with red, yellow, or orange markings, and they only have one pair of wings. But what really makes them look creepy? Their weird antennae and big eyes that make them stand out from other insects. You'll mostly find midas flies in North America, chilling in forests, deserts, and even gardens. They love soil and rotting wood, where they dig around for snacks, like beetle larvae. Yuck, right? But they also feed on nectar and pollen, so they're not all bad. Still, if you ever spot one of these monster-sized flies buzzing near you, it's probably best to back away slowly. Hercules beetle. This bug is no joke. The Hercules beetle can grow as big as a grown man's hand. While it's not officially the largest beetle, that title goes to the Goliath beetle, the Hercules beetle is still a giant. What makes it even scarier? Those wild horns on the males. They've got 2 sets that work together like a claw, totally alien-like. Females don't have horns, and they're a bit smaller, but don't underestimate them. The female Hercules beetle is a walking perfume bomb, literally. She gives off such a strong scent that males can sense her from far away and instantly move toward her. That's how powerful her pheromones are. And get this, there are people who are super into beetles. They're called beetle enthusiasts, and they're obsessed with the Hercules beetle. Some even spend up to $700 just to own one. Now that's serious bug love. Giant water bug. You won't believe what this creepy bug can do. The giant water bug might sound harmless, even with giant in its name, but trust me, it's a deadly little monster. These bugs live in freshwater places like ponds and marshes all over the world, hiding just under the water in plants. But here's the wild part, they're ambush hunters. They stay super still until a fish, frog, or insect comes close. Then bam, they grab it with their sharp front legs and inject it with a gross venom spit. That spit turns the insides of the prey into soup, so the bug can just suck it all out. No chewing, just slurping. Here's where it gets even crazier. These bugs are so savage, they can take down animals way bigger than themselves, and still slurp them dry like a smoothie. And while they don't hunt humans, you still need to be careful. If you step too close to one, it might bite you. And that bite, it hurts. A lot. It's not poisonous, but it feels like a bad sting. So next time you're in a pond, watch your step, because the giant water bug is watching you. Actan beetle. This beetle isn't just big, it's a beast. Meet the actan beetle, one of the largest and heaviest beetles ever found. While it may not be the longest, measuring around 4.7 inches and up to 5.4 inches for the biggest ones, its weight is what truly sets it apart. At a massive 8.04 ounces, it holds the record as the heaviest beetle. And even more impressive, it's the heaviest insect on the planet. So yeah, this beetle may not break length records, but it totally crushes the scale. Now here's where it gets wild, the name. The actan beetle is named after Actaeon, a tragic hero from Greek mythology. His story? Brutal. He was a great hunter who accidentally saw a goddess bathing. As punishment, she turned him into a stag, and he was ripped apart by his own hunting dogs. Why would anyone name a beetle after that? Nobody really knows, but it sure adds a dark twist to this already legendary insect. Giant darner dragonfly. You won't believe how huge this dragonfly is. The giant darner is the biggest dragonfly in all of the United States. What makes it even more eye-catching is its bright blue and black colors. Seriously, you can't miss it. These big flyers mostly live in the southern states like Arizona, California, Colorado, Nevada, and New Mexico. They love small streams and dry areas, which help keep their eggs safe from predators and give them the perfect mix of temperature and humidity to survive. Here's something wild. They eat mosquitoes for a living. Giant darners mostly feed on smaller insects like mosquitoes, flies, and ants, especially the ones near ponds. But life isn't easy for them. Even though they grow up to be strong and fast, their biggest enemy is the hummingbird. And before they even become adults, their baby stage, called larva, is hunted by fish and all kinds of water bugs. It's honestly amazing that any of them survive long enough to fly at all. St. Helena earwig. This might surprise you, the world's biggest earwig is gone forever. In 2014, the St. Helena earwig was officially declared extinct. Now, let's be honest, most people aren't fans of earwigs. But no matter how creepy they look, losing an entire species is just sad. This earwig was massive for its kind. It could grow up to 3.1 inches long. That's huge for a bug like this. The worst part? It only lived in one place on Earth, the remote island of St. Helena in the South Atlantic. And once it vanished from there, it was gone from everywhere. Here's where things get worse. Humans played a big part in wiping it out. People started removing stones where these bugs used to hide, destroying their safe homes. On top of that, new animals were brought to the island like rats, mice, and spiders, and they all saw the giant earwig as an easy snack. This messed up the whole ecosystem, and the earwig was the first to vanish. Sadly, St. Helena has many other animals that live nowhere else, so let's hope they don't end up with the same fate. Scolopendra gigantia. You won't believe what's hiding in the rainforests of South America. Meet the Scolopendra gigantia, the biggest centipede in the world. This monster insect lives in tropical forests, crawling through old leaves and rotten wood like it owns the place. It's so big, over 12 inches long, it could easily win a world record. But instead of chasing fame, it prefers stalking prey in the shadows. With its long body and powerful jaws, it hunts spiders, scorpions, millipedes, and even small animals like mice, frogs, and birds. Here's where things get a little scary, because this isn't just a bug for the record books, it's also dangerous. This giant centipede has venom strong enough to hurt humans. Yes, you hear that right? Its bite is painful, and in one case, it even led to a death. So while it's not out to hunt people, crossing paths with one isn't something you'd want. When nature makes a bug this big and this deadly, maybe it deserves more than just a trophy. Arthropleura, you won't believe this, but there was once a giant bug that looked like a nightmare come to life. It was called Arthropleura, and it lived over 300 million years ago in what's now North America and Great Britain. This wasn't your everyday creepy crawler. It was a 20-foot-long millipede with up to 30 armored plates and a pair of legs under each one. Yeah, that's longer than a car. Scientists think it got so huge because Earth's air back then had way more oxygen, which helped insects grow way bigger than today. Here's the wildest part. This monster wasn't even a meat eater. Arthropleura was a gentle giant that mostly ate dead wood and leaves. It didn't have great eyesight, but it made up for it with super strong senses of smell and touch, so it could find food and feel other creatures nearby. Even though it's the biggest invertebrate to ever walk the earth, it wasn't dangerous. Unless, of course, you were sleeping, and it decided to crawl across your face. Giant African stick mantis. This insect looks like it came straight out of a horror movie. The giant African stick mantis is one of the biggest praying mantises in the world. And yes, you heard that right. Some people even keep them as pets. They've got strange little faces that almost look full of personality. But here's the thing, they're cannibals, the kind that will literally eat their own kind. So, what kind of cuddles are you expecting from a bug that bites off heads? Still, many insect lovers adore them. They grow several inches long, can live for about a year, and are champs at hiding in trees by looking just like sticks. Now here's where it gets dark. The female mantis doesn't just mate, she ends it with a fatal twist. After mating, she might bite off the male's head and eat him. Creepy, right? But it turns out this brutal act may help her produce more eggs. Nature is wild. These insects have alien-like heads, long skinny limbs, and a slow, creepy way of moving. With their stick-like bodies and nightmare vibes, they're like tiny monsters made for a sci-fi film. Whether you find them fascinating or freaky, there's no denying the giant African stick mantis is one unforgettable creature. Wallace's giant bee, you won't believe this. There's a bee out there that's as big as your thumb. It's called Wallace's giant bee, and it's the biggest bee species in the world. For years, people thought it had gone extinct. First, it disappeared, then suddenly popped up again in 1981. But after that, silence. No one saw it for decades, and many believed it was gone for good. Then in 2019, something wild happened. A live female was found and even caught on camera. That gave everyone a little hope. Maybe this rare insect is still hanging on, just out of sight, hiding from total extinction. Here's where it gets even crazier. This bee isn't just big, it's got serious hardware. The females have giant jaws, and they're black resin bees, not your average honeymakers. They grow up to 1.5 inches long with a wingspan of 2.5 inches, huge for a bee. But those jaws aren't just for show. They use them to collect resin, making big sticky balls to build their nests inside termite homes. Yeah, termites. It sounds bizarre, but hey, nature always has surprises. Alligator bug. At first glance, the alligator bug looks like any regular insect, with its usual wings, legs, and bug features. But when you look closer, especially at its head, things get wild. Known as the peanut bug, this critter is a favorite snack for rainforest animals, so it had to develop some cool tricks to stay safe. The alligator bug is really good at blending into its surroundings, thanks to its camouflage. But that's not all. It has a few more tricks up its sleeve to survive. One of its most impressive features is its huge alligator-shaped head. It looks like a scary snake to trick predators into thinking twice. If that doesn't work, the bug's head can detach and act as a decoy, letting the bug escape. As a last resort, it can also flash big, scary eyes on its wings to frighten off attackers. And if that fails, the alligator bug has a stinky secret weapon, a foul-smelling spray that can send even the most determined predator running. These giant insects prove just how wild nature can get. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more amazing discoveries. See you in the next one.